Hey, what's up guys, ImpulseEvan here, and today I am bringing us a new video. In this video, I'm going to be reacting to the newest FNAF game theory, FNAF Help Wanted 2 Proves Us Right. Now this video is 25 minutes long, so I do hope it ends up being good. For the most part, with Help Wanted 2, a lot of people, for the most part, people have been like agreeing on what the story is. It's like, it's a very confusing game, but most of the community is agreeing on what's going on, right? So, not as much as being disagreed upon, so I'm hoping that... Well, I'm not really hoping, I'm just thinking, I'm just wondering whether or not Matt Pat will also agree with, like, what the majority is saying. But, like I said, the video is 25 minutes long, so there's probably a little bit of everything. I'm sure he'll say some stuff that I disagree with, some stuff that I agree with, but for the most part, I just hope that the theory ends up being good. But let's just get watching.
Yes, your candy here, candy. Now I will tell you a story about an end and a beginning and an end. There once was a boy covered in scars.
Bite 83 in the background.
He refused to look in a mirror. This lasted for so long. He eventually forgot they were ever there. Years passed until one day, this boy would come to the edge of a dark forest.
The hell is he talking about?
He followed the rabbit as it scampered through the woods. They went over logs and around trees until he was eventually led to a beautiful flower. The scar-faced boy, now a grown man, plucked the flower to give to his daughter, but upon touching it, she died, for the flower was poisonous, and the man returns to the forest to play.
What the hell was that?
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game
Is that relevant?
Theory, a show that encourages you to be mask off. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to conclude the year of FNAF. With Tales from the Pizzaplex books releasing every 2 months, the Ruined DLC released back in July, and the FNAF movie happening in October, 2023 really did feel like the classic days of FNAF all over again, where there was a new release happening every few months. And to end the year of FNAF,
and not even just with FNAF, there was a lot of stuff, and like outside of just FNAF.
Scott Cawthon playbook. They released a second game within 6 months of Ruin. A completely unexpected, but very exciting sequel to FNAF VR, Help Wanted. And let me tell you, they couldn't
love this game.
A more perfect game at a more perfect time. Because at a moment of peak frustration with the fan base, when Foxy Stans and Bonnie Bros had all collectively thrown up their hands in desperation, this game swooped in to deliver the answers that they so desperately needed. If the narrative of FNAF is kind of like a cracked piece of paper,
yeah, I'd say that
crumbling into dust, this game,
I'd say that this game was like, it does a really good job at like tying up stuff that a lot of people have been wondering about. Like, it seems to indicate what's happening with like with Cassie's dad. It seems to indicate that like the character we play as is Cassie's dad, and it indicates like what happened to him. It indicates that he could be the Bonnie bully. Whether or not he is a different story. It's just it indicates that he might be. And it does a good job at portraying the Mimic, or like showing that the Mimic and Glitch Trap are one and the same, kind of, or that Glitch Trap is the Mimic. But I just think that the game does a lot of tying up loose ends, and I think it just explains a lot of stuff that a lot of people have been debating over. And like I said, a lot of people are agreeing on what the game is telling us, and I think that's very good because it seems like that's what the goal of the game is.
Of FNAF is kind of like a cracked piece of pavement constantly on the verge of crumbling into dust. This game was the cement filling in the crevices, patching up all the holes in the narrative just enough to give the whole thing a solid foundation again, at least for another couple of months. And I really do mean that. Not since FNAF 6 has there been a Freddy's game so determined to tie up loose ends and deliver answers to questions that have been piling up in the background. Basically, Help Wanted 2 single-handedly put a close on one major story arc, while also opening the door to another, a next generation. It's an ending,
most likely, yeah,
all in one, depicting a cycle of violence that shows that you're never truly out of the woods when you're in the world of FNAF. In short, it's probably the single most important game release in the last 6 years for this franchise. So today, we're gonna solve this game together to see what it's trying to tell us and where it's pointing the series moving forward. So grab your Faz wrenches and get ready to step into madness, theorists. Today, finally, we're gonna see what lies behind the mask. As the game opens, we're welcomed in as a new employee of the pizzeria.
Fazbear Entertainment is offering a new on-the-job training
Dancing.
position for a future pizza professional.
And after that short intro, we're immediately thrust into a pizzeria hub world full of training minigames, all while Helpy cheers us forward from his little projector in the corner. But very quickly, one question starts to rear its ugly head. Who are we? Who are we playing as? Throughout the various mini-missions that we're presented with, one line that we hear repeated over and over again is,
what makes you so special?
3 separate characters all bring it up.
Yes, Mystic Hippo, the Circus Baby, and Moon. I personally, I made my own theory on Help Wanted 2 a few days ago, but I will explain like my own point of view throughout this video. But I think that our character is Cassie's dad, and I think the main reason for that is just the fact that in Princess Quest, we end up finding a Bonnie mask, and Bonnie was Cassie's dad's favorite character. On top of that, there was also the fact that we had a Faz wrench, which I think Mystic Hippo says looks familiar to us, or is familiar in some way. And the Bonnie mask is also said to be familiar to us. And I think that seems to very well indicate that we play as Cassie's dad. I think there's a few other things too that I'm just forgetting about right now, but I think for the most part that Cassie's dad being the player is mostly agreed upon, and I think he is.
Moon, Baby, even Mystic Hippo.
Yes.
What makes you so special?
What makes you so special?
What makes you so special?
Considering everyone keeps asking us, we should probably have ourselves an answer ready for them, right? Well, we get a solid idea of who we might be thanks to plenty of explicit clues that are sprinkled throughout the game. First and foremost, we know that we're a Faz technician.
Yes.
Midway through the game, you unlock a Faz wrench that allows you to access a secret back area of the pizzeria. In that back room, there's a glowing tower that should look familiar to anyone who played
Yes,
the
it's a
DLC
security node.
earlier this year. An inhibitor. Back in that game, these devices stopped you from being able to remove your AR-enabled mask. But that's silly. Why would that matter here? It's not like we're wearing a mask. Or are we? Sure enough, deactivating the tower allows you to reach up and remove the AR mask that's been stuck to your face since you first booted up the game. Suddenly, you see that this entire time you've
That whole reveal was really cool.
Pizzeria, worn down, decayed. And this isn't just any ruined pizzeria, it's the FNAF 6 location, complete with a recharge station and a Freddy Spaghetti hole front and center. Not only is this just a fantastic mid-game twist that completely
it's really cool.
Everything that you thought you knew about this game world, but it also helps confirm who we are and why we're down here. You see, us having a Vanny mask, it's weird, right? Like, who are we? Why would we have something like this in our possession? Well, it has to do with our job. In Ruin, Helpy tells us that these AR masks were worn to help technicians navigate through the destroyed Pizzaplex. Now, when I first saw that in the game, I was convinced that it was a trick just to get us to wear the mask and teach us the mechanics of this new game. But here we are in Help Wanted 2 in a destroyed Pizzaplex wearing a Vanny mask, and right there on the wall is a poster telling staff members to make sure they remove the mask at the end of the day. It proves that what Helpy was saying, at least in
it actually was a security mask,
is in fact a real tool that's used by Fazbear technicians, for as strange of a concept as that is. So, we're a technician for the restaurant, sure, but that's not the only thing we know.
Well, I mean, it's called a security mask, but yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Next clue comes in the form of the Faz wrench. Midway through the game, you unlock this tool which allows you access to the back area of the pizzeria. Upon unlocking it, Mystic Hippo Carney Booth says that the key is familiar to us.
Look at Mr. Gumble.
It's familiar to you.
So we know that we're someone who's used this tool.
I don't think I heard that when I played, but I was told about it.
Cassie's dad.
Yes.
Earlier this year in the Security Breach Ruin DLC, we were introduced to a young girl named Cassie, who goes on a mission to rescue her friend Gregory from the destroyed remains of the derelict Pizzaplex. Along the way, she too obtains a Faz wrench.
Yes, and her dad has one.
Just like my dad's.
It's a pretty explicit connection there, and that's not all. In the Fazzer Blast arcade games and Help Wanted 2,
yes, this is what I was forgetting. He says that we look like we got kids. When I didn't hear that the first time I played it, but then I heard it while I was editing my first video, and I was like, I gotta check this out. And then when I recorded my second video, I had to like go back to it, and I was like, that's really interesting.
Hear the carnies say this.
Now, you look like you got kids. Win a prize for the little one.
So, we're a Faz Tech who also happens to be a parent. Cassie's dad is literally the only character we know who truly fits the bill. But
yeah,
what?
that we know of, yeah.
If we're playing as Cassie's dad, it's not all that interesting. And you heard what Moon said.
What makes you so special?
That he was there from the beginning.
in some way.
That was my idea.
Let me
That
just
he,
make this
like...
perfectly clear.
My idea was that he... Since the mask is familiar to him, specifically since it's Bonnie, that indicates Cassie's dad. The fact that the Bonnie mask is familiar to him indicates it's Cassie's dad, because Cassie's dad's favorite character is Bonnie. But the fact that it's a mask specifically could indicate that Cassie's dad is the Bonnie bully from FNAF 4, in which case he was there from the very beginning of the timeline, back in the Bite of 83. He was there from the beginning, so that's what makes him special, the fact that he was there all the way back in the past.
Here, old
If that's true.
okay? They have very important roles in their kids' lives. That's something that makes him very
True.
special. At least in my book.
Facts.
But obviously we're talking about FNAF. The joys of parental responsibility, not what these characters are referring to. In a
Not
theory
quite,
that I
no.
posted a couple months ago, I proposed that Cassie's dad wasn't just any technician. Instead, he
He's
was
the
none
Bonnie
other
bully.
than the Bonnie bro from FNAF 4.
He's not a bro,
The kid that
he's just a
wears the
bully.
Bonnie mask who helps Michael torture his crying brother to death. We know from Ruin's item descriptions that Cassie's dad's favorite character was Bonnie. In that
Exactly,
game, we
yeah.
were also able to collect both an old school Foxy and Bonnie mask, which was an odd detail when you consider that there were no other OG animatronic masks present like Freddy or Chica.
Yeah,
But
Foxy
it's
connects to Michael,
referencing the
Bonnie
masks
connects to
that
the
both Michael Afton and
Bonnie
Bonnie
bully.
Bro were wearing on that fateful day in 1983. Those details, coupled with a few other things, led us to the whole Bonnie Bro conclusion. But now that the full game's out, it certainly seems definitive that our theory was right. You see, towards
Probably.
the end of Help Wanted
I mean, I don't think it's
2,
definitive, but I think it's
players
probably
next to
true.
gravestones of some very familiar missing children. Light them in
Mm-hmm.
a specific order, and you unlock a secret chest. A chest that contains none other than that old Bonnie mask. When you collect it, we see the text.
This looks familiar.
Looks familiar.
Yeah.
It also unlocks an achievement called Lost Luggage. This right here, this was our mask. It was one that we thought
Exactly.
was lost to time. One worn during that horrific accident of 1983.
And it's important to remember that we're not the princess at that moment, because we switch spots with the princess. The princess we leave behind, and then we go. So our player during the rest of the game is the one that's playing that. The princess is not. So that means that it is our mask.
Speaking of that date, in order to find the game's secret ending, we have to unlock 6 creepy voodoo doll plushies, each one hidden behind very explicit in-game actions. In one, you go to Sister Location's private room and type in a
1983.
very specific date. I bet you can guess what it is. 1983. And that year
Yeah.
just keeps
I
coming
did
up.
that before I even knew those
Take
were
place
those were a
during
thing.
Fall Fest, which in the previous VR games DLC
Was
specifically
83.
called out as being in 1983. That is why we're considered special, because we were part of that fateful day.
Yes,
Because by killing
exactly.
the crying child, we sent William on a murderous rampage. It's a memory that we, as Bonnie Bro, have tried to repress. And that's not just me speculating. We know that Bonnie Bro has been actively trying to avoid these memories based on Mystic Hippo asking us this.
Do you remember?
It's also why when we collect
I don't
the
remember
first
that.
secret voodoo
No,
plushies, we get a
ironically, I don't remember her asking me if it says, do you remember?
Do you remember?
It's also why when we collect one of the first secret voodoo
I guess I just didn't hear.
plushies, we get a
It's kinda hard to
tree
see, to hear what she
description
says.
reads, retrieve a memory. Basically, by playing this game and getting these secret objects, we're forcing ourselves to confront memories that we've buried deep in our psyche.
Yes.
We're coming to terms with the trauma of our past. We're accepting it as something that happened that cannot be changed, only atoned for. Which then brings us to the game's endings. If you play through the game normally just by completing the various minigames Helpy tasks you with, you eventually unlock the 6 members of the Faz Force, the FNAF universe version of the Transformers, because let's face it, at this point, FNAF has literally parodied every IP known to mankind. Once you complete
Yeah,
the
pretty much.
collection, the lights flicker, and suddenly
That was a really cool ending, too.
which opens up to reveal the hand of our dear friend Glitch Trap. Another flash, suddenly the nightmare staff bots appear, attacking you. Glitch Trap has won. He's tricked us. He's used Cassie's dad's love of collectibles against him. Much like the tapes in Help Wanted 1, these action figures contained parts of him, his memories, his essence. By gathering them all together, we've once again made Glitch Trap whole. With Princess Quest being the canon ending in Security Breach, it means
Yeah.
that Glitch Trap lost his hold over Vanessa. He needed himself a new helper, so he lured us in, last human employee remaining, and got us to put the pieces back together to reawaken him. The cycle once again repeats. That's why we see him reaching out at the charging station, just like during the Burn Trap ending. He has enough strength to reawaken, to take control, and it's only then that the staff bots show up to kill us. But things aren't quite done yet. After our death, we change perspective into the eyes of a staff bot. And not just any staff bot,
I believe that we're already dead throughout this whole game. Like, I think that we're, like, as Cassie's dad, we have been either already taken over by the Mimic or killed by the Mimic, and we've gotten trapped inside this VR game. And I do agree, though, that like, we... Hold on. I need to rewind to see what he says again.
We've once again made Glitchtrap whole. With Princess Quest being the canon ending in Security Breach, it means that Glitchtrap lost his hold over Vanessa. He needed himself a new helper, so he lured us in, last human employee remaining, and got us to put the pieces back together to reawaken him. The cycle once again repeats. That's why we see him reaching out at the charging station, just like during the Burn Trap ending. He has enough strength to reawaken, to take control.
Yeah,
and it's
okay.
only then that the staff bots show up to kill us. But things aren't...
Yeah, so it's like I agree with that. I think that Glitchtrap was basically defeated from Princess Quest, but that this game is basically reawakening him after the events of Security Breach. But I think they happen like around the time of Ruin, maybe before Ruin. And I feel like it's less of actual Glitchtrap and more just like the regular Mimic. Like I think that the Glitchtrap, the Glitchtrap piece of the Mimic was actually destroyed, but that the Mimic itself is still active, and he's still out and about doing whatever. I think that was that in the game was mostly to show that Glitchtrap and the Mimic were one and the same, but I do think that the Mimic the Mimic itself is more so what is meant to be taking over right now. But I mean, it could still be Glitchtrap. It could just be that like he wasn't destroyed, but was rather just temporarily defeated, and now he's like rising back to power. It could be, I don't know. But then he does get destroyed again at the end, so it's a little bit questionable.
Quite done yet. After our death, we change perspective into the eyes of a staff bot. And
Yes.
not just any staff bot.
Mask bot.
Specifically, we're looking through the eyes of the one who tells Cassie to take a mask at the beginning of Security Breach Ruin.
Take a mask. Take a mask.
It would seem like we've been absorbed into the system. Our consciousness is now part of this map bot. We're trapped inside of it. forced
Mask.
to execute its
Mask
plans.
bot.
In the ultimate of ironies, the mask that we were using to try and stop Glitchtrap becomes the mask that we now give our daughter as map bots. This is then what results in her getting that occipital implant. This is how Helpy gets into her mind. And this is eventually how the Mimic gets free. To me, the way that you get this ending, it's highly symbolic. By not accepting our past, by ignoring and repressing the scars of our past actions, by not unlocking all those memory plushies, we've passed our mistakes forward. In the process, we managed to doom our own daughter. Bonnie Bro didn't just ruin the life of one child, he wound up ruining two. Our actions have, in short, single-handedly prompted the events of Ruin. But
I don't think that there's only one canon ending though. I think that that is what happened, but I think that we're still trapped in the game no matter what, even after that. Like, I don't think that we're, like, destroyed or anything. I don't think we're trapped in that mask bot forever. I think that we're just seeing through the eyes of that mask bot, and we're still trapped in the game, and we're forced to witness that. And then after that, I think then we're able to go and grab, and play Princess Quest, right? And then Glitchtrap is destroyed. But the Mimic is still out there. It's just Glitchtrap that's destroyed. It might be that Glitchtrap, it was still alive, but only defeated from Princess Quest 3, and then was reawakened by Cassie's dad, and then Cassie's dad, while still trapped in the game, used Princess Quest, and then Vanny, maybe some version of Vanny was like actually defeated Glitchtrap completely, killed Glitchtrap. The Mimic is still out there, but Glitchtrap is gone. Because the Mimic, no, Glitchtrap is the Mimic, but the Mimic was split up into multiple subroutines, right? So Glitchtrap is always the Mimic, but the Mimic isn't always Glitchtrap. So the Mimic, the Glitchtrap branch of the Mimic could have been destroyed with the regular Mimic still around. So basically, Glitchtrap, us and the princess, we destroy Glitchtrap, and we try to save Cassie, but I think that Cassie is already overtaken by the Mimic, and that she maybe wasn't saved. I think it's possible. I talked about this in my theory video, but I feel like it's possible that Cassie could end up actually being Vanny in the future, and that she could have been taken over, and then she was the one to destroy Glitchtrap, or maybe just Vanny in some form destroyed Glitchtrap, and then Cassie took up the mantle of Vanny, so that Vanny destroyed Glitchtrap, but Vanny is also still around and isn't gone completely, I guess. I don't know. Hopefully I'm not being too confusing here. I'm not 100% sure, but I do think that that the idea does make sense, and I do think that he's definitely right in some regard. I just don't think that only one of the endings is canon. I think that both of them are.
But hold on.
I don't know if he's saying that only one of them is canon. I'm just saying that I personally don't think that only one of them is. I think both of them are. Maybe he thinks that too. I haven't finished the video yet, obviously. I'm gonna rewind a little bit and then we'll keep going.
Locking all those memory plushies, we've passed our mistakes forward, and in the process, we managed to doom our own daughter. Bonnie Bro didn't just ruin the life of one child, he wound up ruining two. Our actions have, in short, single-handedly prompted the events of ruin. But hold on, I just kind of glossed over a big detail there. We're attacked by a bunch of corrupted staff bots, and then suddenly we're in MapBot? How?
Maskbot.
There. You know? Well, at first, I thought that we were just scanned into the system. The Mimic AI scanned our brains while we were wearing the Vanny mask, and boom, we're now stuck as part of the AI program running the whole Pizzaplex.
I think we already were.
Details, I think there's actually another explanation here. When you look at the map bot through the Vanny mask in Ruin, it looks different from all the other staff bots that you encounter in the game. It looks more organic. You can actually see what appears to be a brain stuffed inside of its head. Compare that to how every other staff bot looks under that same AR lens, and it's completely different. Why would that be, though? Well, it would appear as though our brain, or at the very least our organic matter, was stuffed inside of these robotic suits. It's part of what's powering this particular bot. But again, I ask, why? This seems to be such a random detail, until you remember what a computer brain would be learning from studying Afton's behavior.
Huh, okay. I wonder if it's possible that Cassie's dad actually died, somehow became that staff bot, but his soul was trapped within the VR experience. Maybe that would work. I don't know. That's interesting.
Afton stuffs his victims into animatronic suits. That's what he did during the missing children's incident. It's what we
yeah, so maybe Glitchtrap is trying to replicate that.
And apparently, it's what he did to Bonnie Bro. He stuffed him into MapBot here. For a while, there's been a lot of confusion about the true nature of Glitchtrap. Is it a virus? Is it Afton in the Mimic AI? Was Burntrap the Mimic? It's largely been left unclear. But now, I actually think this ending is trying to give us an answer.
The Mimic is definitely Glitchtrap.
It's explicitly clear that there are at least two mimics threatening the Pizzaplex. First, there's a physical mimic that's buried down in the basement that physically walks around and is able to kill people.
And then there's just the AI that's in the storyteller.
AI program that's eventually able to get installed to run the entirety of the Pizzaplex and is able to control and corrupt all the animatronics that work there. Is this confusing? Yeah. Is it frustrating? Most definitely.
Not really.
I also now see what they were going for with the storyline. Remember how an AI works? You train it by feeding it situational data, and the data that goes in directly influences how it's going to behave moving forward. There's even an example of this with the Endo Daycare minigame in Help Wanted 2. You're teaching an AI
we have to teach it
how to behave. Good data going in gives you good behavior. Bad data going in gives you chaotic behavior. In the books, we see the basement AI being trained up with a simple code. Rip off all the arms and legs of things that look humanoid. And it does this over and over again, in epilogue after epilogue to each and every one of our teenage protagonists. The data
and it kills them all, except one.
It was simple and it was non-specific, but like a good program, it did exactly what it was told. Ripped off all those limbs. Now compare that to the Pizzaplex AI. This was,
and then it ended up doing the same thing.
It was told to copy the behavior of actual humans, and so it learned coded languages. It learned a wider series of gestures and behaviors. It learned how to play games and hang up clothing. It was far
the one in the basement simply just like had like a program installed into it and it was activated. Or there were multiple programs and that specific one was activated. It can still mimic things, it's just that action wasn't it mimicking, it was it just carrying out its program. The one in the Pizzaplex is the one that was taken from the physical animatronic, probably from like its head, because the head was replaced, right, and replaced with a Model 2 probably. And that program was told to mimic or just like basically mimic the people that created all the Fazbear stories, right? It was told to recreate the actions of those people so that they don't have to have those actual people. They could just have these AI generated stories. That's basically what it does.
More sophisticated. So by having two different versions of the Mimic in the books, what we're really seeing are different ways that an AI can be trained up and how the behavior spins off of that. So how's that all apply to the games? Well, in Ruin, there's a key moment on the catwalks of Monty Gator Golf that show two entities working together, but also acting separately, as they're able to argue against each other. Helpy says, "I took care of the situation," to which the Mimic responds,
"With my help."
They're cut from the same cloth. They both started as the Mimic program, but they've evolved in different ways. And
Yes.
based on all of that, I suspect
Exactly.
that the Mimic Cassie runs from at the end of Ruin is a parallel for the book's basement AI, a simpler, older system that uses Gregory's voice to talk to us throughout Ruin.
Parallel?
This one just
Nah.
exists and executes
The same one.
kill
Yeah.
things and escape from the basement. But then there's the Pizzaplex AI. I suspect that this is the more sophisticated system. This is the one that's been trained up on Afton's data specifically. It's the one that embodies itself as Glitchtrap, and it's also the one that speaks to us in the form of Helpy. And we know this...
Sort of. The thing is that there's two different mimics in the Pizzaplex 2, because we know that one was installed by the storyteller, or for the storyteller by Fazbear Entertainment, but then there's also the one that was installed by Gregory, which is basically exactly what happens in the games too, which is another reason why I think that the games and the books are the same universe, right? But the thing is that one has to, the one that Gregory installs has to be the more sophisticated Glitchtrap one that like basically overtakes the Pizzaplex one. So the Pizzaplex one is still there, but the Glitchtrap one takes control. And then when Princess Quest happens, then Glitchtrap is destroyed, and then that Pizzaplex mimic is what's left behind. It's not exactly Glitchtrap, it's similar to Glitchtrap, but there's a separate Glitchtrap that overtakes that one too. That's kind of what makes it more confusing, because there's 3 different mimics then, not technically just 2. But yeah, so basically when Glitchtrap is destroyed, the mimic that was in the Pizzaplex takes back control because the Glitchtrap one isn't overtaking that one anymore. So there's still the 2 different mimics, it's just slightly different than what he's saying.
To be true because of what we see throughout Help Wanted 2. In this one game, the AI is drawing from pretty much every past animatronic, including characters like Scrap Baby and Lefty, which are odd pulls considering they're characters that were never put on display for the public. These were characters that only existed for the fake pizzeria made to entrap Afton in FNAF 6. So the fact that the system here knows about them means that they had to have come...
I mean, they were all meant to be trapped.
It's also why in the Helpy Hospital minigames, we see a kid's drawing of a burning pizza
Not
restaurant
really.
with Helpy running away. That's how Afton was able to escape and live on. His consciousness was contained within the Helpy AI, which was able to survive the FNAF 6 fire. And remind me again, who is the one that encourages us to play these minigames throughout Help Wanted 2? The minigames that lead to the collection of the Faz Force toys, which ultimately give us the bad ending? Oh yeah, it's Helpy. And not just any Helpy either. Helpy spelled with an I. That spelling detail actually matters. You see, the name of the physical animatronic...
Okay, hold on. Hold on a second.
only existed for the fake pizzeria made to entrap Afton in FNAF 6. So the fact that the system here knows about them means that they had to have come from Afton's mind. It's also...
Not really, because, first of all, it's possible that Michael could still be alive, in which case he could have known about it. But second of all, we know that FNAF 6 was made as a game in-universe. So those animatronics could have just existed in that game, again, possibly from Michael, or maybe just some other witnesses, because there could have been other employees that worked at that pizzeria that survived and weren't at the fire. And they could have basically attested to that, right? So Afton's mind would not be the only thing that knows about those animatronics. And Afton's mind being in the Helpy animatronic would be really weird. Like, why would he not still be in his own body, right? Because his body is either still down there, or if the Stitch line is canon, then he's in the hospital and then blew up, right? But if not, then he would if that's not in the games, then Afton's body would still most likely be underneath the pizzeria. Why would Helpy be what Afton's mind attaches to? I don't think that really makes sense.
Why in the Helpy Hospital minigames, we see a kid's drawing of a burning pizza restaurant with Helpy running away. That's how Afton was able to escape and live on. His consciousness was contained within the Helpy AI, which was able to survive the FNAF 6 fire. And remind me again...
I don't think so, considering Helpy is in that office.
The minigames that lead to the collection of the Faz Force toys, which ultimately give us the bad ending. Oh yeah, it's Helpy. And not just any Helpy either. Helpy spelled with an I.
I think that's just the mimic.
matters. You see, the name of the physical animatronic Helpy, it's spelled H-E-L-P-Y. But in Ruin, that digital neural implant Helpy is spelled H-E-L-P-I.
Yeah.
And once you know it, in the game files for Help Wanted 2, the Helpy on the projector screen is once again spelled with an I. This is Glitchtrap, the mimic program trained up on Afton's data. He's yet again trying to put the pieces back together, and by completing his task...
Yes, but I don't think that that means that he learned because Afton's mind is in Helpy. I feel like if Afton's mind was in Helpy, then Afton would still be around, and the Mimic wouldn't need to learn from him, it would just be Afton. And I don't think that the Mimic matters in that case, which he does. The Mimic does matter, so if Afton was still around, unless he was in Burn Trap, he could be in Burn Trap, maybe, but the Mimic is still there. The Mimic is in Burn Trap, the Mimic is in Glitch Trap. Afton could be in Burn Trap, but if that was the case, the Mimic is still the main villain-ish. If Afton was in Helpy, why would he have to be in Burn Trap? I guess Vanessa could have brought Helpy down there, but again, why would Helpy have contained Afton, considering Afton was in his own body, and then from there, yeah, Afton was in his own body, why would he have attached to Helpy? And how could Helpy have gotten out, considering this was a labyrinth with no exit, right?
And unlocking the Fast Force, you help him to succeed. He's now back in full control of the Pizzaplex, ready for ruin. Ready.
I agree for the most part with what he's saying. I just don't think that Afton being in Helpy makes any sense.
To create a new servant in Cassie to finish what Vanessa started. I've learned
I agree with that.
Steel Wool, it's that you can't always trust the first ending you see. Remember that creepy plushie that we unlocked earlier? Well, there are 6 of them in total, each one unlocked via a seemingly random series of actions. Put a code into the whack-a-mole game backwards. Make a weird soda mixture.
I did that by accident, and I got it.
Shoot a random rocket ship during various Phaser Blast minigames until you get to FNAF 2, at which point you pop balloon recreations of the animatronics to unlock a final boss battle against the cutout of Springtrap. Like I said, these get bizarre and they get convoluted in a hurry. But the main thing you need to know about them is that by collecting them, you unlock a glitched coin that allows you to play the 4th and final version.
When I saw that, I was like, no way.
First, it plays just like your normal Princess Quest minigame. You swing your sword, you kill the glitchy bunnies, you collect the keys. Simple. At least until it's not. You open a door and you suddenly find yourself standing next to someone playing an arcade cabinet. Next thing you know, the princess is standing there in the room with you.
Are you kidding me? Oh, this is nuts.
The real world
that was
and
so
the digital
cool.
world are leaking into each other. Reach into the screen, grab your sword, and suddenly you are the princess.
Who's
Not
the
really.
princess now?
Glowing sword in hand, we fight our way through the glitching bunnies until we meet the old Red King. We give him our Vanny mask, and in return, he gives us the Glitch Trap plushie.
I still gotta watch those GT
This
lives.
is where things go
I definitely
really
will.
off the rails. Out
Yeah.
of nowhere, the sister location elevator appears. Hop in.
The
and
one
suddenly it
from
takes us inside
the
of a
Help Wanted 2
giant
trailer,
claw
yeah.
machine with a giant Vanny staring in at us. We offer up the Glitch Trap plushie, revealing the true Glitch Trap. She crushes him and then fades into darkness. Doing so unlocks a trophy named Consequences. The description reads, "System threats found, repair complete." So, what was all that? Well, actually it seems
Glitch Trap's destroyed.
Glitch Trap was the system threat. By crushing him, he's been deleted and the wider AI system's been repaired. We won! Except, is that possible? Didn't I just say that the other ending showed us the start of Ruin? For that game to exist, which we know it does, Glitch Trap has to survive here. So is this
Not
secret
really.
ending not canon then? Just a
Well, because I mentioned earlier, the Mimic AI could still be in the Pizzaplex. Glitch Trap himself, that branch of the Mimic, does not have to exist.
no
And probably
no,
doesn't.
Actually, I don't believe so. For the first time ever in this franchise's history, I, Matt Pat, believe that both endings are canon. Let me explain.
Yay!
I think that we're destroying Glitch Trap in the Vanny ending, but I'm not exactly sure it's a system-wide removal. Instead, I suspect that this ending
Not
is
quite yay.
specifically about Vanessa herself. We've known since the original Help Wanted that Vanessa, Glitch Trap, and Princess Quest have all been inextricably connected. For those of you who don't remember, the Princess Quest minigame originated back in the 2D version of Help Wanted, where they needed a game to replace the original mechanic of piecing together the missing 16 tapes from Tape Girl. Here, we watch as Vanessa, the princess, falls victim to Glitch Trap. In Security Breach, you beat Princess Quest 3, which shows Glitch Trap being
But then it's
defeated
not
and
Vanessa.
walking out of the Pizzaplex freed, leaving the Vanny mask behind. So the fact that we're now playing Princess Quest again tells me that we're not fighting to remove Glitch Trap from the Pizzaplex system. Instead, we're yet again fighting specifically to free Vanessa. These games have always been about Vanessa and Glitch Trap. I wouldn't expect 4 to deviate from that pattern.
I'm pretty sure that well, the princess, in my opinion, is most likely Cassidy rather than Vanessa. And I don't think that Princess Quest was ever about freeing Vanessa specifically. I think it was always about destroying Glitchtrap. And I think that's what happened. And I think this game just makes sure that he's dead, basically, I guess. I think that he basically kind of... No, I think that he survived, kind of, but then started rising to power, like he was saying earlier in the video, and then, but then he was destroyed again, and then, like, definitively destroyed, and then Cassie's dad got him destroyed, but Vanny's still out there, because the Mimic is still out there. Glitchtrap is destroyed, the Mimic is not.
My old buddy Candy Cadet's trying to tell us that this game is about finishing Vanessa's story. Throughout Help Wanted 2, you collect coins that can then be traded to Candy Cadet for pieces of a story.
I do think
The second
Vanessa's
one
story
tells
is
about
over.
A young woman that's been lured in by a friendly voice, only for it to have been a witch that tries to eat her.
Now let me tell you a story about a young woman who, when she was little, was led into a dark forest by a witch and almost eaten.
She manages to escape, but she's permanently scarred in the process. When she's older, she returns and is met by a young boy who offers to help.
When she had grown, she sought revenge on the witch and entered the forest again willingly. She was greeted at the mouth of the forest by a young boy who offered to help guide her through the darkness. She welcomed the help and followed the young boy over the river, through the jagged trees, and toward a small house. She followed the boy into the house. The oven door closed. The witch would finally have her meal.
This right here, this is Vanessa's story, cut and dry. She was lured in by what she thought was a friendly voice, Tape Girl, telling her to gather the tapes to stop Glitchtrap, only for Glitchtrap to then take control. She does escape, but is permanently scarred by this. She has the Glitchtrap virus inside of her. It's not in full control,
Yeah.
but it's definitely there.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't personally yet come up with an explanation for this, so I'm curious about what he's saying.
About the emails from FNAF AR and the retro CDs from Security Breach.
I compartmentalized him. He's locked away.
She had compartmentalized him. He wasn't in full control, at least not yet. She then comes back to try to kill Glitchtrap herself, but runs into a young boy who seems like he's gonna help her, only to lure her deeper under Glitchtrap's control. By the time she transfers to the Pizzaplex, Vanessa's tone has changed in her therapy tapes.
I'm needed somewhere else now. Thank you.
We see the same thing in the FNAF AR emails. She's no longer in control. Glitchtrap has completely taken over, and it's all thanks to the only little boy that we know of,
Gregory. Yeah.
Thanks to his retro CDs, we know that he was meeting a person in a bunny costume.
You're talking to someone or something. It's hard to tell. What are those things? They almost look like rabbit ears.
Gregory is a villain. At the very least, he was
Oh, yeah.
at some point in the story.
100%.
It's clear as day. Between this Candy Cadet story, GGY, and the fact that he was clearly working with Vanny before the events of Security Breach, he is not on our side. He was the one that helped.
I think he is
Glitchtrap
now,
take
but
full
he
control
wasn't
of Vanessa
before.
right up until the end of Security Breach. Even cut lines of dialogue from Help Wanted 2 seem to support our conclusion here. These voice lines come directly from Vanessa, and they tell us the following, quote, "You need to listen to me carefully. Don't help it escape. It's using you to finish where she left off. Only a small piece of his code remains." Vanessa is back to being more in control, but she knows that a small part of him remains. The Glitchtrap.
I did not know about that. That's a thing?
We also get lines like, "The memories are freed. Use the token. Bring him to me." Referencing the memory plushies that we're collecting, the glitched Princess Quest token, and then being told to bring the plushie to her so that she can crush it herself once and for all. Destroying Glitchtrap inside of her mind allows that other persona, Vanny, to finally fade into darkness. Vanessa is truly free. And we know this to be true because after this ending, when you go back to the main hub screen, Helpy's gone, replaced by a boy claiming that the Fazbear pizza tastes like real cheese. Delicious for him, but even tastier is the fact that Helpy's been...
Okay, what I find interesting is, I still find it interesting that Vanny is the one destroying Glitchtrap, not Vanessa. I still feel like that indicates... I do think he's on the right track, though, that Vanessa's the one that destroyed Glitchtrap, but I feel like that means that Vanny is still around. Without Glitchtrap. Because, like, maybe Vanny was Vanessa at first, then destroyed Glitchtrap, but Vanny was still around even after she destroyed Glitchtrap. So does that indicate that Vanny is still a thing? And if so, is Vanessa still Vanny after she destroys Glitchtrap? Yes, she fades away into the darkness, but she's Vanny when she does that, and she's like... Huh, I don't know, This is interesting. I gotta think on this more. I do have to figure out what I think this means, but I do think he's onto something at the very least. Like, I think he's on the right track about Vanessa destroying Glitchtrap. I'm just not 100% sure that Vanny is gone. Or maybe, like, I mean, Vanny is the name Vanessa Bunny, so Vanessa as Vanny, Vanessa as that white bunny persona, that I think is destroyed. I think Vanny is destroyed, but I think that the White Bunny persona, like I said earlier, could be passed on to Cassie. And in that case, then maybe both Vanessa and Cassie are Vanny in that ending. I don't know, though, because, I mean, there's no switcheroo or anything. I don't know. Like I said, I gotta think on it, but we'll keep going. 3 minutes left.
Trap is gone. At least he's gone from this version of the program. And you see, this is what I meant about endings and beginnings. This, to me, feels like a very specific end. The end of Vanessa's story. And with it, the end of this current era of FNAF. From Help Wanted 1 to Help Wanted 2. Let's call it the Vanessa arc. She's no longer a part of this story. Her battle's over. We saved her completely. But in closing out her story, the cycle also repeats. Yet again, we have ourselves an innocent girl, this time named Cassie, being lured in by a seemingly friendly voice, Gregory. But in reality, it's all a trap. Thanks to that occipital implant, she now has Helpy as a part of her mind, just like Vanessa did with Glitch Trap. And now she's wearing the mask more and more frequently, again like Vanny. In short, it's been passed on. Cassie is just Vanessa 2.0. Gone is the era of Vanessa and Glitch Trap. Long live Cassie and the Mimic AI.
Yeah, okay. I think I agree with that, yeah.
What's it truly gonna take to break this cycle once and for all? But hey, I'm gonna continue digging for deeper lore and winning all these prizes.
What do we got? El Chip? Head chef box. Great, just what I always wanted.
I wanted to make sure you guys had a chance to win some prizes of your very own. In fact, there's actually a chance to win $10,000. That's all thanks.
What if I don't want $10,000? Anyway, yeah, that was definitely an interesting theory. I think I agree with most of it. Like I said, I do think that Athen ending up in Helpy is weird. I don't think that makes sense. But I think besides that, I think this was a really good theory. But let me know what you guys think of the theory in the comments down below. And hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to. And I will see you all in the next video. My next video will also be later today, actually. But it'll be my reaction to the new FNAF theory. FNAF. John from FNAF. Yeah, I'm going to react to that too. Right after this. Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.